Okay, we're going to, in this lesson, go back to our geometry. And we're going to do some geometry that will involve some decimals. And we're going to find the circumference of a circle. We have not worked with circles. We've only worked with polygons in the past, which are straight-sided figures. With this circle, we're going to deal with the circle, and forgive my lack of perfect circle here, but we're going to find the circumference. And the circumference of a circle is the distance around it. It's very similar to perimeter, but there are not sides to add, so we have to have a different way to do it. This was actually discovered back in ancient Greek times. Need to make sure that you're familiar with some language. The distance from the center to the side is called the radius. We'll use letter R. The distance all the way across a circle through the center is called the diameter. We'll use letter D for that. The number pi is involved in finding the circumference of a circle. Now, pi is approximately 3.14, but that is a rounded value for pi. We will only use that rounded value when we're told to in instructions. So the circumference of a circle is, if you are given the radius, it is 2 times pi times the radius. Write that formula down. If instead you're given the diameter is the same as 2 times the radius, so all you have is pi times the diameter. Keep those two those two formulas handy as we look at circumference of a circle. All right, problem number 1. It says, find the circumference of the circle in terms of pi. Then use the approximation 3.144 pi and approximate the circumference. So we have two problems to do here. All right, the first thing I want you to notice is, are you given the diameter or the radius? Well, you're given the diameter because you're given the distance all the way across. Well, if you have diameter, the formula circumference is pi times the diameter. So that's the formula we're going to use. I have two parts to the problem. The first one says, find the circumference in terms of pi. That means do not put in the approximation for pi. Here's what you're going to do. Circumference is pi times the diameter. I am not supposed to put anything in the place of pi. So circumference is, leave the symbol pi. The diameter is 25 feet. Well, since pi is a letter, it is customary to write the number to the left of it. So 25 pi feet. And this is the circumference. You will find the pi symbol in your tool palette. So you're going to type into this box 25, and then you'll click on the pi symbol. Now the second time you do this, it says find the circumference using 3.14 as an approximation for pi. Well, I start the problem the same way. The circumference is still pi d because I still have the diameter. What's different here, and I'm going to switch to approximate symbols, in the place of pi I put 3.14, and in the place of diameter I put 25 feet. So this time I have some multiplication to do. So 3.14 times 25. The circumference is approximately 78.5 feet. Okay, so you will put in 78.5. So this one is exact in terms of pi, and this one is approximate where you've used 3.14 instead of pi. Each of your problems you're going to do twice. Let's look at the next one. It says, find the circumference of the circle in terms of pi, and then use the approximation 3.144 pi and approximate the circumference. So we're going to do exact with pi and approximate with 3.14. Start the problem by looking at the circle. Are you given the diameter or the radius? In this case, you're given the radius. So you need the formula circumference is 2 times pi times r. All right, in terms of pi, circumference is 2 pi r. So circumference is 2 pi, and the radius is 2.7 yards. You want to go ahead and multiply these two numbers, and you're going to get the circumference is 2 times 2.7 gives you 5.4, then the pi symbol, and it is measured in yards. So you will put in 5.4 pi yards, getting the pi symbol from the tool palette. Now part 2 of this tells you to use 3.14, so I start the same way. Circumference is 2 pi r. Circumference is approximately 2 times 3.14, which is an approximation for pi, times the radius, which is 2.7 yards. And now, this time, I have 3 numbers to multiply, so 2 times 3.14 times 2.7, and I get 16.956 yards. It doesn't say anything about rounding, so I put in the 16.956 in that box. So sometimes, if you're told to leave it in terms of pi, you just tack the pi onto it. If you're told to use an approximation, then you do so, and you've got a little more multiplication to do.